The purpose of this video is to help you in solving right triangles that involve using the three basic trigonometric functions, sine, cosine, and tangent. Now we have the acronym Sohcahtoa that leads us to writing the trigonometric ratios that the sine of an angle is opposite over hypotenuse, the cosine of an angle is the side adjacent over the hypotenuse, and the tangent of an angle is equal to the side opposite over adjacent. In the picture, you can see where their relations are in regards to the angle. Directly across from the angle, that side we're going to refer to as opposite. Right next to it, we're going to refer to that as the side adjacent. And the hypotenuse is always the side that's across from the right angle. Now, there are two stages to doing these type of problems. The first and most important is you got to set up the correct trigonometry. So if we look at these three pictures, all right, these five pictures actually, and I go to the angle 36, I notice that 18 is opposite and x is hypotenuse. That tells me to use the sine function. So I'm going to say the sine of 36 degrees is equal to 18 over x, or opposite over hypotenuse. Now let's do the trig for all five of these, and then we'll come back and worry about solving them. So the second one here, from 35, I recognize right away that's the hypotenuse. So that means the side next to it must be adjacent. The trig that uses adjacent and hypotenuse is the cosine function. So the cosine of 35 degrees is equal to side adjacent x over the hypotenuse 10. Third scenario here, from 26, I recognize 11 is opposite. I recognize that x is adjacent. O and A tells me to use the tangent function. So the tangent of 26 degrees is equal to side opposite, 11, over the side adjacent, x. Now down in these two examples, we're missing an angle. When we're missing an angle, we're going to go ahead and call it theta. You could call it x. It really doesn't matter. But from that missing angle, 142 is opposite, and right next to it is adjacent. That tells me to use the tangent function. So the tangent of the angle is equal to the side opposite over the side adjacent. And then this last one here, from that angle, I notice that 6 is adjacent and 18 is the hypotenuse. Adjacent hypotenuse tells me to use the cosine function. The cosine of the angle is going to be side adjacent over hypotenuse. Now, that's how we set up the trig equations. To solve them, we have three scenarios that can occur. Scenario number one, I'm missing the denominator in the fraction. I'm missing a side, and that side is in the denominator. Scenario number two, I'm missing the numerator in the fraction. I'm missing a side, and that side is the numerator. Scenario number three, I'm missing the angle. Each one of those means I have to solve it differently. Now, when I'm missing the denominator, to find that measurement, I'm going to take 18 divided by the sine of 36. All right, we're going to come back to the calculator here in a minute. To solve this one, because I'm missing the numerator, I'm going to take 10 times the cosine of 35 degrees. This third one right here, to solve it, I'm missing the denominator, so I'm going to take 11 divided by the trig, the tangent of 26 degrees. Now down on the bottom, when we're missing an angle, we have to use a unique trig solving technique. But I know that theta is what is called the inverse tangent of 142 over 46. In this problem, I have to find the angle. The angle is always going to be using inverse trig. So the inverse cosine of 6 over 18. Now, all this work right here can be done without using a calculator. But now I'm ready to bring the calculator in. To do the first one, I'm going to go to the calculator and make sure on the graphing calculator that my mode is in degrees. You should see that on there. If it's not, move your cursor and highlight it. My calculator is in degree mode. So to solve the first one, I'm going to literally take 18 divided by sine 36. Anytime it opens a parenthesis, make sure you close it. Hit enter, and in general with sides, we round to the nearest tenth. Make sure you're paying attention to directions for that. So then I would say that this side is 30.6. All right, and that was the missing side from that picture. The second one, to solve it, it says multiply 10 times the cosine of 35. So I go to my calculator, and I take 10 times cosine 35. Round to the nearest tenth, I get 8.2. Third one, it's telling me to divide. So I'm going to go 11 divided by tangent of 26. 11 divided by tangent 26. Close it off. Round to the nearest tenth, that would be 22.6. To find a missing angle, I have to use inverse. Now, the inverse trig function can be found by going second, and in this case, tangent, to get to the inverse tangent. Notice how it says tangent to the -1. Then it says of what? Well, the of what part is that fraction, 142 divided by 46. 142 divided by 46. Close it off. Hit enter, and with angles, we typically round to the nearest degree. Again, pay attention to directions. So this would be theta is 72 degrees. For this one, we're going to use the inverse cosine. So I go second cosine. I type that fraction in, 6 over 18. 6 divided by 18. Close it off. Round to the nearest degree. And this would be 71 degrees. I hope this helps. Let me know if you have any further questions about Sohcahtoa.